Welcome back to another podcast. Today, me and co-host Landon are going to be interviewing Alex. How are you doing today?
Good, sir. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about you, Landon?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Can't complain. Can't complain. And today we're going to be talking about finding our why, and that's kind of like finding yourself, finding things that you enjoy, and how you can help others find that. So I guess the first question would be kind of how would you find your why? How do you feel like you found your why?
I found my why mostly living with a disability and playing wheelchair basketball. It was more or less an escape for me. It was able to feel more like a normal kid would, right? When they play soccer growing up or like basketball, right? So for me, playing wheelchair basketball, getting that thrill of getting on the court and feeling like an actual athlete is what really pushed me to want to get better at wheelchair basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And for the listeners out there, could you kind of give a background of kind of like where you're from, why you chose to come to SMSU?
So I'm from Newfoundland, Canada, which is a small island at the most northeastern part of Canada. And it's about 2 flights to get from where I live to here. My main reason for coming here is because I was introduced to the coach of at SMSU from Wheelchair Basketball, head coach. And from there, I met him at a tournament in Vancouver, BC at the time. It was a national tournament, so all the best players were there from Team Canada level, under 23 level, and so on. And I just so happened to get invited to play with Team Manitoba, and they needed a coach. So a player that was already on the team here, Josh Brown, he was already going, and he asked the coach here. It was like, hey, we need a coach for our team for that national tournament. And he was like, sure, I'll go. So anyway, I go to the tournament with my parents, and we play. We end up coming 3rd place, and we win bronze. And after we finished, the coach, Derek, also head coach here, was like, hey, come play wheelchair basketball for SMSU. He's like, you could do a degree of some sorts, which I never thought I'd be going to university. So I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll take you up on that offer. So within 2 months, I had all my papers ready and on the plane to go to SMSU.
Awesome. With wheelchair basketball and stuff, so when does that generally start?
We start usually the week after school, so our coach gives us time to get ready. So we enter preseason. This is actually the last week of preseason, so we actually start our official season next week, and then our first official games is not till November 22nd.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I've always been really interested in that, and I've been trying to get to a game, but I just haven't been able to. But I know this year we're definitely really looking forward to it.
Yeah, as far as I know, our first home games are not going to be till February, which I can't wait because most people I know is like, oh, I've never seen one before, and I'm like, I just can't wait for them to go see it and be like, wow, I can't believe how incredible it actually is.
Yeah, that's something that I just think too. It's awesome. It really is.
Yeah, it's like what most people don't realize is like stand up, you got your legs, so it's like you can run down the court and then shoot your arms. But for us, our arms are our legs, so it's just
so continuously it's constant.
Pushing down the court, and then you're tired, and then you still got to shoot, and you just to get that stamina to keep going. It's so difficult, but you just got to push through it, and you just got to want to win more than the other team. So
absolutely. Landon, do you have any questions?
That's all that's about, just winning. Can you tell us a little bit more about your disability?
So I have something called HSP, which is hereditary spastic paraparesis, and it affects my lower extremities. So as of right now, it's fine, but eventually the muscles in my legs will deteriorate to a point where I will be in a wheelchair permanently. But as of right now, I still got my mobility, so I'm still going around for the most part, but due to unfortunate circumstances, I ended up spraining my ankle there last year. So now I'm in a day chair for the most part because I find it hard walking. But I'm looking at the positive side of I still got my mobility, so I'm still trying to use it when I can, type of thing.
When did you get started with wheelchair basketball?
So I started when I was 8. So I've been playing for the last 14 years now. But I got introduced to it from a summer camp that I went to back when I was young. It was a summer camp that had people with disabilities there. And it was more or less a way for me to socialize because I wasn't really making that many friends in school at the time. So being in this summer camp, I was introduced to many para sports, I guess you could say, like sledge hockey, or my interpretation of it was bell ball. So it's like a blind soccer. Yeah,
Yep.
you know what I'm talking about.
Almost similar to here in the United States, we have power chair soccer. I mean, pretty darn similar.
And I was also introduced to wheelchair basketball, and I was like, at first scared. I didn't want to try it like any kid, right? They didn't want to get hurt or anything like that. But I got in a chair, I found the courage, and I just started pushing. And, every 8-year-old kid was like, oh, I'm going to be good overnight. I'm going to be the next Michael Jordan, right? But I found out quite quickly that it wasn't going to be that easy. So anyway, I kept pushing through it a few times. I was like, man, I'm done with this. I don't want to do it no more. It's too difficult. But I had my mom in the corner, just, you got this, push through it type of thing. And both of my parents support me the whole time through my 14 years of my career. Just amazing support system I got with them. And they kept me going each and every day. And every week I'd want to go to practice more and more and more. And then when I start making achievements like getting my first basket, actually playing games and winning against other people, I just looked for it more and more every week until I ended up wanting to get better. So I was like, is there any adult leagues around? So when I was like 12, I joined the local men's league that played wheelchair basketball. Now, at first, I was petrified. I was like, I'm playing against tougher guys, and they're like, almost got clobbered a few times, but it was fun. And after that, I just learned to roll with the punches, I guess you could say. I get an injury, just deal with it, move on, just progress and get better and better. And that's what I done up until I made the Team NL team for the 2019 Canada Games. And we ended up winning the first game in history of Newfoundland for wheelchair basketball. So that was a huge milestone for my career, but I was also getting a lot of minutes because the coach I had at the time was seeing a lot in me for potential. So he put me out a lot, and I got great experience, great friendships because of it. And because of those friendships made me want to continue my path of wheelchair basketball and where I'm to now, pretty much. My ultimate goal would be to get on the go to the Paralympics, be on Team Canada. That's the biggest milestone in my family, and I know how proud my parents are now. And if I had to make that, I'd make their world, right? As an only child, they look forward to everything I do in life and every milestone I go towards, and just looking at that goal and having that goal and telling them what my dreams is for the future and what I want to do, and them helping me achieve that is just phenomenal. So
yeah, that's awesome. So thinking about kind of like challenges and stuff, what would you say would be kind of like the hardest challenge that you've faced with this?
I would say it'd be learning. The learning would be the hardest part of how do I push and dribble at the same time, and then like learning to get better with passing and shooting and stuff like that. But it's that wanting to get better is what pushed me to wait, I should practice on this more and I should do this more. And then it was like after I got used to it so much, it's like, oh, it became easier. It's like it was hard at first. Like they said, I wanted to quit a few times, but I got through it, and I was like, I can do this.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm not the only person in the world that can't do this, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So kind of like in the opposite side of that, what's kind of the most memorable experience you've had with it?
For me, it's like I said, it's that national tournament. Winning my first medal, my first bronze medal at that, was definitely a huge milestone. And then just having my parents there and family that actually live in BC, and then my 80-some-odd-year-old great-grandmother actually made the flight out to watch me win my first medal. So it was like, that was pretty exciting, I'm not going to lie.
What kind of drives you now that you're back in, or that you're in the States now and you're at the collegiate level? What kind of drives you? I mean, you still have your parents, but you can only do so much while they're many miles away.
I look forward to my friends I talk to every day, but the biggest thing is I just look forward to getting better every day with wheelchair basketball. And, me and my team, we all want to win games together, and that's my goal, is to help me and my teammates win nationals. That's a goal of ours and probably always has been, and we haven't won in a very long time. So us bringing back a championship medal, that would be a great experience for all of us. So that's my ultimate reason why I get up every day, to get better than yesterday. So
yeah. And here at SMSU, I don't know if we talked about it much, but what is the degree field that you decided to go for?
Broadcasting and digital media.
Awesome. And what I'm sorry, you can go.
No, reason why is Professor Christopher Metz. I had him for my first semester here, and he's like, "You should join media club." I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." And anyway, I started doing football games. I'm like, I really like this, because I want to better my social media. I want to get myself out there more, and I'm trying to promote myself more to show that, I'm getting better as a player, to show, Team Canada, hey, I want to invite to a national camp tryout sometime, or stuff like that, right? Just trying to get myself out there and get myself known in the wheelchair basketball community, and that's mostly the reason why I'm doing broadcasting right now. But ultimately, I'd like to do, be a cameraman for the NBA or commentary, something like that. Something, out of the ordinary that someone like me would do, right? From a small island in Newfoundland.
So thinking outside, I know we just talked about NBA, so let's kind of go there. If you do videography or being a commentator for the NBA, kind of what team would you wanna be on?
Now, see, I'm from Canada, so most people think the Toronto Raptors. But I feel like I'd want to stay in the States and do, either Golden State, Lakers, something like that, more out there type of teams, right? Because, let's be honest, the Toronto Raptors are not the greatest team, so... But, hey, we won a championship not too long ago, so it'll be a few more years before we get another one. But, yeah, ideally it'd be some type of team in the States type of thing.
Awesome. Not the Timberwolves?
I wouldn't mind it. I'm not opposed to it. It's a great experience, so...
No, yeah, any team, really. It'd just be awesome just to be able to be there and kind of doing that kind of stuff.
Kicking it back over to wheelchair basketball for you. I know you mentioned that the wheelchair basketball team hasn't won a championship in a long time. How are you guys working towards a whole group effort to achieve that national championship to bring it back home?
As of right now, we're getting better as a team. It was the first week, 2 weeks was sloppy. We're getting better, though, because it's hard having newcomers in, because then it's we got the old timers, I like to say, from last year, right? That keeps continuing. So we're all used to each other. But then it's when you add new people into the mix, it's harder to communicate on a high level. It's harder to work together, because it's we don't know each other's play styles, right? And that's the hardest aspect. But we're getting better. We're getting faster at learning people's play styles, and overall, we're communicating better. I'm looking forward to our first games in Whitewater, just to see where we stand as a team, just to see how many games we'll win, stuff like that.
Who is your biggest competitor?
Teammate-wise or team-wise?
Team in the division.
I would say last year was definitely Whitewater. Definitely Whitewater. This year, I'm not too sure. I'd say it had to be maybe Arizona or Alabama, something like that. They never really lost any players, so they still got a few good players on their team.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys played Arizona and Alabama and stuff. That's pretty sweet. So when you guys travel a lot then, to Arizona and to Alabama to play?
Yeah, so we travel to Arizona, but we don't travel to Alabama because our coach told us Alabama don't make the effort to come here and travel to us. So
okay,
we only make the effort to travel to teams that's willing to travel to us.
Yep.
So we go to Arizona, we're going to Whitewater, we're going to Missouri. Sometimes, some years it's off and on. So some years it's Arizona, some years it's UTA, which is in Texas. So it just depends on what coach wants to do game-wise.
Okay, yeah. in last year, how have you guys been? I know we kind of talked about kind of building and getting stronger together as a team, working together, kind of with new people coming in, and just we keep on working to get better. So last year's season, how did you guys do compared to how you think you guys will do this season?
So we started in 7th at Nationals, finished in 7th. So we never went down, we never went out, which is, in my books, is not bad. But I feel we can do better. So this year I'm projecting, like, we got more people now, so we got more people to sub in to take breaks for our higher class players. Last year we only had like 8 of us, so it was very little we could do to sub people out when they were getting tired. But this year there's 14 of us, so once we can get down to proper lineups and stuff like that, we'll be subbing out people when they need breaks and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to around like 5th place this year, but ideally first. But
yeah, absolutely.
Can you kind of talk about the lineups and how that kind of works? I know it's a little bit different than like stand-up basketball.
So we go by a classification system. It starts at the highest classification is 4.5, and the lowest going down to a 1. So a 1 is pretty much like someone with limited mobility.
Okay.
So, for example, someone with spina bifida, like yourself, type of thing, Landon. And, like, I'm a 3.5, so I got better mobility in my hips. It's all judged on, like, your hip movement and how much you can do with that. And like I said, I'm a 3.5 because I got more hip ability than most people, but it's still stiff. Like, my hips are stiff due to my disability. So that's why they thought, like, classing me down to 3.5 was proper. But, like, one person on our team, Emmanuel, he's a 4.5. He's pretty much, like, we call those able bodies. They can do pretty much anything possible in a chair, right? Tilt on one wheel and just spin around in circles or whatever, right? And
shooting half-court shots contested.
Yeah. So some crazy stuff like that, right? But for the most part, that's the classifications. Like, in our lineups this year, we got, like, multiple Class 1s, multiple Class 3s. Still only got 2 4.5, sorry.
How many points can be out on the court? I know you mentioned that it was, like, 4-5-4, 3-5-3. How many points can be out on the court at one time?
You can have a total of 14 points out on the court. So as long as you don't go over, if you do go over, it's considered a technical foul for your team. So it'd be classified as 1. But if it stays in under, you'll be fine, type of thing. But matter of classification, it don't matter. I mean, you could put like all 1s on there if you want. As long as it don't exceed 14 points, you're fine.
And I know Chris told us to ask you this about free throws.
Free throws, yeah.
Ooh.
I have a love-hate relationship with free throws, okay? Some days I can hit 10 in a row, and then some days I can't hit 1. So it just depends what type of day I'm having. But for the most part, I'm a decent free throw percentage.
I love that.
And I would ask you about Whitewater, but I don't want to go off the rails there. I think we should just keep it at the free throws.
Yeah. I don't want to get started on Whitewater. That's a conversation for another time.
Yep. What is your why?
My why?
Yes, the most important question.
For me, to get good enough to make Team Canada go to Paralympics, that is my why. That is my ultimate goal. But however, when I reach that goal, most people are like, what are you going to do after? Well, I'd like to go into, like I said, promote myself media-wise and get myself out there to teach younger generations of wheelchair basketball, get them better than what I've ever been, and let them get to their dreams and goals of what they want to do in life. They want to make it to Paralympics, I want to help them get there, right? Type of thing. Because I was once that kid, and I always look back at that kid self of me and be like, who knew you'd ever be here in life, right?
Yep.
And just, the dreams I had as a kid and then now living those goals and dreams is pretty amazing. But like I said, I look back at that kid self of me every now and again and be like, you should be proud of yourself, of how far you made it.
Yeah, so like when you say teaching like kids and stuff about wheelchair basketball, kind of getting better, right? would you want to do that in Canada or would you want to do that here in the States?
Depends on the opportunity, honestly. If the opportunity presents to me in Canada and it's just a better option, I'll do it in Canada. But if it's in the States, I'll do it in the States, like type of thing. But ideally, it'd probably be in Canada for now until later on I get a citizenship of some sorts.
Yeah.
So,
and what kind of things would you mostly try to like focus on? Something that you felt like looking back, something that you could tell yourself maybe 5-10 years younger, saying something that you could kind of like improve on, per se?
for me, my biggest thing would be push through those hard days. Because those hard days, I tell you, sometimes you just want to stay in bed and not do anything.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had a few of them, but what gets me going is just I got places to be in this world, and I want to get there. So that's my goal, to get up every morning, right?
Absolutely. I think that's something that can be really something that really can help with pushing through that. It can help you keep on going because, like you said, everyone has those days where you're laying down and you're like, I really don't want to get up. I really don't want to do this. But then having that mentality are the people like you who are going to be able to make it to that Paralympics team, to your goals. So,
yeah, and just like you said, it's all about mentality. Like there's two mentality paths you can take. That's the way I always looked at life. You can take it as I'm just gonna go down the regular road. Everyone else goes down, get a 9-to-5 job, or you can be extraordinary and go down your own path and create your own legacy, right? And that's what I want to do, is create my own legacy from me and my family. Just, I'm the first person from Newfoundland to ever go and play on an intercollegiate wheelchair basketball team.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know
so
that.
it's like it's pretty big for me while I'm here. Like, it's a small island, so not many people get that opportunity. I mean, we got Paralympians from there, we got Olympians and stuff like that, but being the first in something that no one's done from Newfoundland it's a achievement in itself. So
yeah. So when you came over to the States and started playing collegiate level, were you nervous at all?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I would be.
I'm not gonna lie, I was awful. I couldn't do anything for like the first 2 weeks. Even probably the first 3 months, I couldn't do nothing right. But my coach told me last semester, I went from being the worst on the lineup to have me being put on the lineup and becoming the best lineup we have. And being told that just proves to me of how far I've overcome my obstacles and difficulties to get there, right? Now, like I said, I was terrified, but, I pushed through it and just went with the flow, right? And just got better every day.
Yeah, back to that mentality piece that you were talking about. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
You trusted the process into getting to where you are now, which is unbelievable.
Absolutely. It's all about the process. I made an Instagram post last year. It's like of me first time hitting 6 free throws in a row. I said, trust the process, right? And I've been trusting that process. And I uploaded a clip to Instagram, a few weeks ago. And I made 10 free throws in a row. Next is probably 13 or 12. It's just those small milestones that I look forward to, right? And that I just love achieving.
If somebody out there was living with a disability, how or what would be your advice to give them to go and play wheelchair basketball or do any, adaptive sport?
Great question. Personally, I would tell them, it's a great way to socialize. If you're having trouble making friends in school or, for instance, like for myself, I was getting bullied because of having a disability. So it was more of that comfort place for me to go to and socialize with my friends and my team and just play ball and get that stress out, right? And that's what I tell people with parasports. Find a sport you love and just do it. No matter what anyone thinks, just play it. It should be your happy place, right? Every time I get on the court, I'm always happy to be there. No matter if it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, it don't matter. As long as I'm on the court, that's all that matters to me. And I don't feel nothing outside of that. And that's what I try to tell younger kids is it's the social aspect. It's the socializing aspect of ball. and other para sports. Like, I used to play sledge hockey for 6 years, and people ask me, it's like, oh, how come you don't transition to sledge hockey more than wheelchair basketball? It's because it's all about that passion you find in life, and my passion was wheelchair basketball. I never stuck with sledge hockey because of that reason. And for me, it was just a thrill. I had more of a thrill. It was just the adrenaline rush I got on the court was out of this world. I just loved to be there. So my biggest message to other kids would be, the socializing aspect. I made a lot of friends because of it, and because of that, I would have never been here. So
Of course.
No, that's awesome. You have such an inspiring story, and we're getting close to the end. So would you like to kind of shout out any, like, your social media, like any of that kind of stuff, if people want to reach out and, like, ask you questions?
definitely, you can follow me on Instagram at axel_wheels. I post a lot of my content there. Other than that, mostly people I want to shout out is the SMSU Wheelchair Basketball team here. The assistant coach, Brian Powell, and the head coach, Derek Klinkner, for getting me here, type of thing. And most biggest shout out is definitely my parents and how supportive they are through all of this journey with me.
Absolutely. Andy, do you have anything for?
I'm just going to, I know I said it earlier on this evening, but parents are your biggest supporters. It's unbelievable with anything that you do.
Absolutely. I classify them as my number one fans. My parents always ask me, what one is better? I'm like, I can't. You're both number one. There's no 1 and 2. So
You can't compete.
No. So, but, yeah, like I said, because of them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So it's all thanks to them.
Yeah, thank you. And we look forward to kind of keeping up with you throughout the basketball season. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And if it's important to you to vote, which I believe it is, try to find a chunk of time where you can know, like, it's okay, I'm going to be here. I like to think of it like I'm going to the doctor. It takes however long it takes, and I'm there until it's done. So that's the mindset I go in with it if I vote on election day, because sometimes it can take a while.